And let's go on the record in the matter of, we're recalling the matter of Huntington House Apartments versus Natalie Wally, 2302104. And counsel?
Mark Lando on behalf of plaintiff.
Okay. And Ms. Waleed, your name, please.
Natalie Waleed.
Okay, and so counsel, has there been a resolution at all, or what's going on?
Unfortunately, no, Your Honor. The notes that I got from counsel who handled the hearing this morning suggested that it was a little further along than I think anticipated, and we were not able to resolve the matter. Okay, so I'm showing that there was a conditional dismissal to enter, and so and that conditional dismissal so the conditional dismissal entered, correct, counsel? Yes.
Okay. And so who filed this motion? Because I'm having a hard time here in this online file. I was finally able to get back in. But how are we back here today?
I requested it, Your Honor.
Ms. Waleed had, I'm looking at the ROA online, Your Honor, and Ms. Waleed had sent some correspondence that the court recorded as received on December 8th. I have not been privy to that correspondence.
Okay. And so, ma'am, there was a conditional dismissal entered. And so, and you had requested this hearing, and what was the purpose of that hearing, ma'am?
Your Honor, in the court dismissal, per the negotiations that I had with the previous Huntington House representative in the breakout room, the total that was going to be due, to my understanding, was listed in the dismissal of $2277 to be paid by December 29th. My understanding was that I made the payments that are listed out in the dismissal, and I assumed that I would be able to pay the December 2023 rent late. The previous representative did not explain to me the language that he used in the court order that said and all additional fees. I corresponded a couple of times, and there's been miscommunication between the representatives, the leasing house, and the owner, the representative legal people like Mr. Landau, Huntington House leasing office, and Huntington House owners. There's been multiple miscommunications. I asked the young lady this morning if I paid all of my payments, which I have, Your Honor, and I've paid those early. If I paid those as agreed by December 29th in 9 days, on December 30th, I would still owe December 2023's rent. Would Huntington House move to evict me because I would still have a balance outstanding? And the young lady this morning said yes, that they would. That was not explained to me when we were in the court. Neither was it explained to me the 2 times since our last court hearing that I sent emails to Mr. Borkin, the previous representative, and to the leasing agent of this apartment complex. I would never have agreed on November 17th to pay $3,900 in 1 month. I just cannot afford that. I would have asked the court on November 17th to make some sort of other arrangements. So that's what I asked for clarification, and nobody from Mr. Landau's representative, the leasing agent, or the owners has gotten back in touch with me. So I felt like I had to get in touch with the court and have an actual formal hearing, because Mr. Borkin said the conditional dismissal is the binding document.
Okay,
And the binding
so, hold on, please. Hold on. So I'm reading the document. Defendant shall pay the following to plaintiff pursuant to the terms in item 3. The amount was $2,277, and that's what was due through November 17th. Okay, it says that right on here. Defendant shall pay the above along with charges under the lease as follows: $500 by November 30th, $1,000 by December 15th, and any remaining balance by December 29th, along with all charges under the lease which accrued through that date. And so, ma'am, those charges are additional rent. So why, unless you negotiated having the rent paid late for December, I'm not sure why you thought that you wouldn't have to pay the rent on time.
No, you're because they wouldn't be on time already by December 28th, Your Honor. The rent is due on December 1st.
Ma'am, this resolution was as to the arrearage amount that was still owing. That didn't address that didn't do anything regarding your current due. So you're telling this court that you wanted to have a hearing because you don't agree with this anymore because you couldn't pay your December rent on time. Mr. Goldpaw, I'm going to have you please join breakout room 2. Is that what you're telling the court, ma'am?
That I did not understand that I would not be able to pay December rent late. No, I didn't understand that.
So, ma'am, how much have you paid?
Your Honor, I have paid according to the agreement, and I've paid early. On November 30th, instead of $500, I paid $750. On December 15th, instead of $500, I paid $750. The remaining balance on the arrearage alone is $700. After those payments, is $777. That is due for me to pay on December 28th. Well, by the 29th, I'll get paid on the 28th, so it'll be a day early.
Hold on, you said you paid $750 on November 30th and $750 on November 15th.
Yes.
December 15th.
Okay.
I'm sorry, December 15th.
December 15th. Well, this shows $500 was due November 30th, so you overpaid that, and then $1,000 was due on December 15th. And you paid $750 because you overpaid on the 30th, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so you have until December 29th to pay $777, and the plaintiff is stating that you have to pay that plus
$1,122.
Okay, and so Mr. Landau, your response, please.
Yes, Your Honor. The conditional dismissal does indicate that by December 29, she must pay the remaining balance, which is $777, along with all charges due under the lease that accrue through that date. The goal with these conditional dismissals is to have the defendant catch up on her arrearage, and this is for all tenants, to catch up on their arrearages, not, under this extended payment plan, not to just catch up on what's owed as of the date of the court hearing, and then still have a lingering arrearage by the end of December that 3 days later is actually going to be 2 months worth of rental arrearage and have to start a brand new case on the rental arrearage in January on what's now going to be 2 months worth of rental arrearage. And that's what I negotiate on all my conditional dismissals. I make it very clear to tenants that they're also going to have to catch up on the December rent. The manner in which I trained Mr. Borkin when he joined our office is to do the same thing. Obviously, I'm not Mr. Borkin. I was not part of the proceeding on November 17 when this was negotiated out. But that is his routine practice. I know that's how he communicates with tenants. Except that there can be some misunderstandings that occur. But that is what we insist upon. And if Ms. Waleed wasn't able to do that, Mr. Borkin would have just gone before Your Honor and sought the entry of a judgment, giving her 10 days in which to pay. So instead, we gave her a month and a half to catch up. But that would be including the December rent.
Okay. And so, Ms. Waleed, you have a master's in business, correct?
I do.
Okay. And so one would presume with the master's in business that you understand the language and the principles of making the payments with what would be due, and then how you would still be in arrearage if you were not paying December's rent also.
No, Your Honor. My master's degree is in business and is not in law. But I do know from my master's that the court order is the binding document. And I guess, Your Honor, I just did not understand, and it's not spelled out. Mr. Borkin and I did not discuss December rent at all. And when I looked at the document, when he told me the number of $22.77, that was to catch me up with the arrearage. I understood that. I understand also that I have the lease that's ongoing because I wasn't moving out. And I do understand, and I have paid and I'm willing to pay the late fees up until we came to court. But I felt like,
ma'am, why should your landlord continue to accept payments 1 and 2 months behind?
because it would be 1 month behind, Your Honor, because we entered into this negotiation. If the landlord, and because I have paid the late fees, and I have shown that I have a willingness to pay this landlord every 2 weeks until it is caught up. And what's at issue here with myself and Mr. Landau is that he says that he doesn't have authority, and he said that he called the owners of the apartment complex just now. He only has the authority to extend out my payments to catch up for 1 month. And I asked Mr. Landau to extend it out for 2 months with payments every 2 weeks, and they are not amenable to that. I feel that because
Ma'am, what is happening now is that now it's snowballing. And so that is why, as Mr. Landau just stated on the record, that the agreement is as it is because it allows you an opportunity to catch up on the arrearage and not get further behind. Because now you're talking about you are catching up on the arrearage, but you're still behind. And now you're wanting an additional 2 more months to catch up on what's going to be due for December and January. So the order was entered. If you'd like to get legal representation, and the court even asked if you understood everything that was going on, you stated yes. And Mr. Borkin had put all those terms on the record. You can certainly file a motion if you'd like.
I can certainly file a motion. I didn't hear the rest of it, Your Honor.
If you would like. But other than that, this conditional dismissal has been entered. And I believe it's been entered. I can't tell on this.
It's entered, Your Honor.
Screen.
It was entered November 28th.
Because, ma'am, at the end of the day, I don't believe that the attorney that was here that day would have agreed to anything else. I mean, maybe he would have, I don't know. But since this would have been on November 17th, before November 17th, I believe it was, and if I would have entered a judgment, ma'am, then you would have had until November 27th to pay your move out. So I'm not, you might want to contact some rental assistance place, ma'am, or some low-cost attorney as well, and see what your options are. But at this point, I don't have a basis to set this aside.
And you don't have the basis because you say that I understood what Mr. Borkin put in the conditional order?
Ma'am, it was all put on the record.
Mhm. Well, I didn't understand that, Your Honor. Just as I didn't understand, and I asked in your courtroom what signing one of the check boxes for A, B, C, or something like that meant that they would be able to evict me without even coming back to court. I did not understand that either, and asked for that explanation while we were in the courtroom.
Right, and I gave that explanation. That means that they would submit an accounting along with an affidavit of noncompliance and an order of eviction all at the same time if payment was not made timely on any of those dates. Mr. Landau, we can do one of two things.
Okay.
One of two things. We can set this for January 3rd, and then we can just hold it as a hearing and enter a judgment accordingly if there's a resolution, or we can hold the hearing. That's up to you.
So I didn't understand that, Your Honor. We can hold a motion on the 3rd, or we can hold a hearing on the 3rd?
Oh, I'm sorry, I directed that to Mr. Landau right now. Just one moment. Mr. Landau?
Oh, yes, Your Honor. When you said just one moment, I thought you were addressing something else. So the options are to hold a hearing on January 3 on, let's call
on your complaint that you filed for possession.
I'm just looking for the court to uphold the conditional dismissal that was agreed to on November 17th.
Well, and again, ma'am, you sent a correspondence in. I believe you sent it via email, maybe to my landlord tenant clerk. This was not a properly filed motion. The court has not heard anything that would be a legal basis to set this consent order for conditional dismissal aside, and so the court's going to proceed accordingly. And so, ma'am, you have until December 29th on your remaining balance there.
All right, Your Honor.
Have a good day. All right, thank you, Mr. Landau.
Thank you, Judge.
All
Have a
right,
good day.
All right, you as well.